9/11 brought this country together. Everybody was united. Didn't matter where you were from, what you did, how much money you made, what your tax bracket was. Everybody came together. I was a 9/11 responder who was horribly injured on 9/17/01. Now I run the Feel Good Foundation, which all members of the Feel Good Foundation, the board members, are volunteers, and all of us are affected by 9/11. None of us are on a salary. We all live on our pensions or our government checks. I live with my wife, Marzana. I've been married now for 3 years. The morning of 9/11, I was actually upstate in Nanuet doing a large demolition job. And when the first tower hit, there was conflicting reports. If you remember, there was a small Cessna and that hit the tower. Then, when we found out it was but nobody knew it was a terrorist attack yet until half hour later, whatever it was, when the second plane hit. I was in charge of about 200 men on that job, and I shut it down. I knew some way, somehow, I was going to be involved. I just knew. And I'm not a cop or a firefighter, but I knew my expertise in construction over the last 20 years, and being in the military, I was going to be needed. And I went to my office that day. At the time, I was single. I wasn't married, and I was one of 5 foremen out of that traveled. I was the only one out of the 5 that traveled basically the East Coast doing large demolition jobs. So I was asked to go, and then the very next day I went. I was at Site 7, and I was in charge of delegating orders. I took orders from the top, and I delegated them on the ground. That was my job.
What was Site 7 specifically?
Building 7 was one of the most secure buildings in the world, and Building 7 came down late that afternoon. After the towers, there was no, everybody was gone. They were all evacuated, but the rubble from 1 and 2 and 7, they kind of, crisscross. So within a couple of days, the Red Cross had tents up. The local church, other organizations, United Way, they all had places where you can go and talk to somebody. My main focus was on work. I never really stopped. A lot of celebrities came, or dignitary, political officials. I never stopped to bother to talk to anybody, or when there's a job to be done. I'm a strong believer in work hard and play hard. Getting into Ground Zero, though, there was tens of thousands of people that were literally clapping and cheering, like you were Elvis, like you were going to save the city. And I found that a little odd because, again, I was just going there to do my job. I kept to myself. I didn't really know a lot of people there. I knew I had a job to do, and that's always been my, I come from a strict family background where my father installed in me, work hard and, work, get it done. And then I can't say, like the thousands of other 9/11 responders who might have made friends for life, But since my injury was so high profile, people will come up to me and go, I remember when you got hurt. I wish I could remember them because I was in the process of losing a lot of blood, On September 17th, 8,000 pounds of steel crushed my left foot. The man next to me fainted when blood was shooting out of my foot about 6 feet in the air. I was a human sprinkler. When he fainted, I made a tourniquet. I took his belt off for him, and I put it around my calf. Again, I don't panic. When the fire department got there, within 3 minutes, 4 minutes, I was 120/80. I got my boot off, and bones were sticking through my socks. I couldn't get my sock off, though. I was rushed to Bellevue Hospital. Again, like I was Elvis. They were waiting for me, I spent 10 days in Bellevue, and I got gangrene. And at the time, I thought gangrene was like from the 1800s, when someone gets shot in the belly and the doc's like he's going to die of gangrene, because I didn't really think you can even get gangrene anymore. So I told my mother to get me out of the hospital, and I went to North Shore University on Long Island in Plainview. I spent 10 weeks there fighting for my life. I eventually lost half of my foot, which at the time I thought I could handle. I went to therapy for a year, mentally, before physically. And if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't be here today. When you lay on your back for 11 weeks, you learn a lot about you. Your life changes. It's not like staying home from work for 3 days with a cold. Your life is literally altered, and you learn to appreciate what you have and what you don't have and what you don't need and what you might want in the future, or something that you had in the past that you think is now kind of frivolous because your priorities are more focused. And I learned I learned the hard way, really the hard way. But I had multiple surgeries every year from 2001 into 2006. I was always in a cast or on crutches. So, even while I was suffering, and even before I started the Feel Good Foundation, I was advocating for others since 2003, just as an individual. They all say, there's somebody worse off than you. 9/11 proved that to me. I wasn't married at the time, and I saw all of these men and women and their families suffering. After 9/11, you could do no wrong. Everybody loved everybody. Black, white, different religions. It didn't matter. You can cut somebody off on the LIE. It's okay. Or somebody would hold the door open for you. Did you see what happened? My God, I knew somebody. Everybody hugged each other. Everybody said hello. Now we're back to the same way. Well, you cut me off. Let me throw you the finger or give you the F word or this or that. We lost that love and feeling. 9/11 is negative. 9/11 happened. There's nothing anybody in this room can do to change what happened on 9/11. But I'm about solutions and problem solving and what we can do to make those people who are affected by 9/11 and this country in whole, what can we do to find the solutions and the problem solving to make these people whole again? I'm never going to be the same person I was on 9/10/01. 9/11 has really laid its ugly hand on so many good people. I put my mother and sister through family hell, every day, worrying if I was going to be okay. And then when I got hurt, they literally were at the hospital every day. They altered their life for months for me. What hits me the hardest is the kids that are affected because their parents are affected. Misery needs company. Daddy used to be the breadwinner in the family, and he brings home a paycheck. Now Daddy doesn't do that no more. And he doesn't feel like the man, or she doesn't feel like the woman she used to be. And now the kids are in therapy, or the kids are in rehab for drug use, and families are getting divorced. People just think that 2 buildings fell down and 2,751 lives were lost that day. 2 buildings fell down. 3 buildings fell down that day. But it has just affected so many families in so many different areas that if 9/11's a tree, it's got hundreds of ugly branches that have just worked its way into mainstream America's household, and it's painful. The American people now have a bad taste about our elected officials in D.C. Now, on the other hand, I work with many elected officials in D.C. It's my home away from home. I've been fighting now for 4 years for a bill. There are so many good elected officials that get a bad name because of the whole scope of D.C. I'm an optimistic person. It's the American people that make this country great. It's not our elected officials. I just wish more people, and if it's not even 9/11, find a cause, find something you believe in, and if more people took 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or an hour out of their day to make a difference in someone else's life that's less fortunate, you'd be better off.